So I wanted to bring you here to talk about moving tips and tricks.
Okay.
You obviously have a lot of opinions on how a customer can save money, how they can make their day less stressful, how they can just have moves be easier. So just kind of expound upon that. Tell us what you've been holding in for the last 5 years.
Holding in? I don't know about holding in, because we always like to try to tell our customers the best way to save money. We're not the companies that, try to hide stuff so that we can make as much money. We're a for-profit company. We want to make money. We want to expand. We have a vision for all of I-15 corridor and beyond, but we want to do so in an ethical manner as well as a service-based manner. So we provide a lot of value in different areas, and one of those areas is trying to educate customers on how to save money while getting great service. For one example is, if a customer wants us to come in and pack the entire house, we call it our white glove service. We can do that. But if a customer is like, hey, look, I'm a little bit more concerned on price, how can I save some money here? The way we bill is actually by hourly rate. And so that really helps our customers, because if they're just wanting us to take the big stuff, we can. If they want us to take the boxes and the big stuff, pretty much everything, we can show them tricks on, for example, if they're packing up all their boxes, they don't want us to, totally fine. But if they put the boxes by the front door or even in the garage, and we have our truck close to the front door or the garage, that's less steps. Since we bill at an hourly rate, that's less time. And so they can save tons of money. People don't think like, hey, look, how much can that really save? If you're going from our truck
How
on the
much
street,
can that really save is
right?
the question.
Let's walk through that a little bit. So if they're walking from the truck, which is typically either on the street or in the driveway, inside the truck is a 26-foot box truck, so you have to walk up and down the ramp into the truck, into the house. If you're going downstairs or upstairs or even on a flat one-story house, walk into a back bedroom, that takes maybe 20, 30 seconds to walk back there. But loading up the boxes, loading up the furniture, whatever the case may be, and then walking it back out is a little bit slower, just because we don't want to cause damage to the walls, the door frames, whatever the case may be, versus if it's in a garage, stack it up, put it on a dolly, put it in the truck, way less time, because we're talking trips. If you're going up or downstairs, maybe one box at a time. If it's lighter, maybe two, but we don't want to, safety for our guys is key. We don't want to damage anything. But if everything's in the garage, we're talking 3 to 5 boxes at a time on a dolly, which is less trips and less time for the trips. So that's one way.
So this is obviously a rough estimate. By no means does this mean that this is how it is every single time. But if you could put just a regular price on a move, how much of a reduction could you expect in the range if you were to do something like that? Let's just say they took every single small item that they could put in a box and they just left the furniture in the house and put everything else in the garage in comparison to a full white glove move. How much time and or money would you expect to save in that situation? It's
pretty hard. So
of course.
Just so our listeners and people watching understand, it depends on how much stuff they have and whatnot, but they could save hours, which based off our hourly rate, that's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the house. So if they're looking to save some money, even if it's a couple $100, they're going to save a couple $100. The bigger the house, the more items there are, thousands of dollars.
Nice. So to kind of circle back to a point, or at least a question I wanted to ask when you started talking, is what is the importance from a business's perspective to give their customers advice, tips, tricks, even though we're actually going to lose money?
So it's an interesting concept. This is something I personally believe in, but if you look at physics or the way the universe operates, if you think on a very basic level, you have to give something in order to receive something. And if you think on a very basic level, in order to get energy from your food source, you have to burn energy to go out and either get the food, make the food, chew the food before it can actually give you energy. You have to give before you receive. So the same thing is with business, and that's the way we operate, is we're going to give more because we know it's going to benefit us and we're going to receive even more, even though if we try to nickel and dime, or if we tried to just not tell our customers so that we can just do all the work and gain all the money, people are going to love that more. Here's a little key thing that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of our business comes from repeat customers. When I first came into this industry, I did not realize people move this much and this often. It's incredible. But we get a lot of repeat customers, and then a lot of customers refer us to friends and family. And so we can spend tons of money on ads, tons of money on networking, but the money well spent is in doing great service, giving a lot of value, whether it's teaching, whether it's providing different services or equipment. That's been the best return on investment, is giving, because we've received a lot.
Fair enough. And what would you say we do best when it comes to giving value? So you talked about giving value, whether that's training, whether that's giving something to the customers. What do you think we do best when it comes to that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if I can narrow down one particular thing.
Then a few things. What do you like?
So when it comes to our sales perspective, we want our salesmen not just to be used car salesmen. We want them to be educators. Sometimes we're getting customers that are moving for the first time because they've done it their whole life by themselves. Mm-hmm. And so we want to educate them on not only what the process is like. They're going to expect several phone calls beforehand, making sure everything's good, getting everything lined up by getting pictures or walk through the house sometimes, and just like getting it all lined up so they feel comfortable. As well as on that sales process, the education piece to help them try to save money if needed, or find out what services they need. Another piece of value we offer is like, hey, look, we're connected with a lot of other businesses. So if you're moving into the area and you need pest control, you need lawn care, you need all these different services, we know people that will just give you their names without any charge. We don't charge for it. We don't get a back end commission from that company. We just like, hey, we know these guys. We've used them. We like them. You can try them out, or you could interview them yourself. Well, that's increased value.
Yeah. And to that point, everyone that we hire, damn near everyone that we hire, are usually locals. Mm-hmm. You're hanging out with our team for a day. Like, if you're just coming to St. George, what are the odds you're going to ask one of your movers or one of the guys who stops by, or one of our executive teams, like, where's a good place to eat? Where's a good place to go? Like, you guys are locals. What do you guys do here? Who are, do you go to the movies? Is there, do you go to the Tuacahn? Like, what does somebody in St. George do? Because they're new.
Yeah. So our guys have a wealth of knowledge, because most of our guys have either grown up here or they're going to school here from out of town. And so even the out-of-towners can give great examples of what they're doing, but also how they've been received in the community, what the community's like, especially if they're coming in for the first time versus just moving down the street.
What is the St. George community like?
That's a good question. I found them to be very welcoming. Whenever I've done the moves, like I first started off doing the moves, they've always been very friendly, very willing to talk to our movers and talk to me personally. It's been very nice to get to know them. I actually have met a couple people that I've moved that I grew up with in another town up north in northern Utah. So that was kind of fun, just because they're willing to open up and connect, and we can kind of find out a little bit about each other, and it's just been really nice. It would be kind of awkward, and it sometimes is. It's very rare, I would say, where you go in and they just don't want anything to do with you. It's like, hey, just do this move and walk out. That's very rare. And so even people who have grown up here versus people who have been here for a few years or moving in, it's very welcoming.
I've found that, so I've been here for just shy of a year, and I've found that it's really hard to get into the community in St. George. For instance, like, who do you talk to? How do you be part of a group? But when you're in the group, everyone's very nice. Mm-hmm. So that has been my personal experience.
Yeah, and that could just be just psychology 101 of, that's my phone. Just psychology 101 of trust. Maybe they just need to build some trust. Maybe people have had some trauma or whatever in the past.
Well, and St. George is a tourist town.
It is.
So you're going to be just naturally a little shy to newcomers, because like, you don't know who they are at all. You don't know where they're coming from. Like, there's lots of new people here all the time.
Well, and I graduated high school in 2006, and I graduated up in northern Utah, and we did like a college day where different colleges would come, and Utah Tech, at the time Dixie State, came up to present, and I found out that this community back then was one of the top growing communities in the country.
I'm pretty sure it still is.
And it still is. So that kind of waiting for
it's hard to grow a community when so many new people are coming in.
Correct. There's a lot of turnover. Like I said, there's a lot of repeat customers. People are moving every few years, sometimes every year. And we've been open for over 10 years, and so we've had a lot of people come and go.
You're good. I just knew they were going to turn off.
So yeah, we've had a lot of people, repeat customers come and go. So that also has a play in it. If we have a lot of people coming in, some people shuffling around, building that kind of network, that kind of camaraderie, that neighborhood-like feel can probably take some time because they don't know if you're going to up and move. So it's like, how much
you don't know somebody for 30 years here in St. George. You know them for 2.
I know. You're like, how much do I let them know about me because they're just going to leave and then I have to do the whole process. Like relationship building is work, and that can be a lot of work. So
sweet. So are there any other tips, tricks, things you like about what we do? Obviously, you're from an executive level, so you have like a bird's eye down view on our whole operation. So what else do you like that we do?
So I really like that we have a moving company and a storage company because we can offer customers the moving side if they just need a move, or if they need to store stuff, or just store stuff, and then we can offer moving services. We have that really cool dynamic. One thing we do is we're not just focused on digital marketing. We're also involved in the community. We do parades. We want to be involved in the community. We do giveaways. We do service opportunities. We give away free moves. We're involved with networking locally. We're involved with our realtors to help them with their clients moving people in and out. We're pretty much everywhere, and we've seen a lot of success with that. And I think that has really benefited us, not just to be a company to make money, but to be a company that cares about community. Because that's how this business started with the owner. He was helping his grandma move people in and out of rest homes, and it was very family focused.
So with realtors, what is the importance, maybe even some pros and cons with having realtor relations as a moving company?
So I don't know if there's any cons. I like to think that there's really nothing bad that happens. It's all feedback. Anything that happens is all feedback. And so if there's any sort of realtor relationship, I've loved that because they know a lot about what the customer. Sometimes the customers call in, we don't know a lot about them. Customer can call in, realtor also calls in, and we get a better sense of what needs to happen. And there's a really good relationship there with our realtor network.
And for other moving companies, do you think that they would be missing out on a lot of opportunity with realtor relations? Do you think it's like a pivotal part of our industry, or just something that's accessory?
I wonder if that's a little bit more nuanced, because it's definitely really nice to have realtor relationships. Just like in digital marketing, it's a piece of the pie. Having relationships with realtors is a piece of the pie. It's not the main piece, but it is definitely nice to have those relationships, especially when it's built over time and there's a lot of trust. If any moving company, if they ever say we don't have any damages or mistakes, I would question that very heavily because accidents happen. We have had damages, which is totally fine because we go out of our way to make sure to rectify those the best we can. And so if anything happens, especially with somebody that we have a relationship with, we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. We love maintaining our relationships with our realtors. There are a lot of really good friends of the company. They've been with us for a long time, but we've really enjoyed having them.
Nice. So I'm somebody who goes out on moves from occasion. And one thing that a guy had told me on my last outing was that he moved to St. George and he used a party who brokered. Obviously, we hate that here. But the truck driver's mother died. And she went to the funeral with no notice. And his stuff just stayed in a semi truck for an extra 10 days with no notice and no communication. He didn't know until afterwards when the truck got to his house that there was this problem for 10 days. So that being said, when he came to St. George, he asked around who's like a good mover in town. We were recommended multiple times to him. And when we were moving him, he was just so ecstatic of how polite we were, how fast we were, how easily we got everything into the truck and moved. I think we did a pack day and then we did a move day. The move obviously only took like 2 hours. It was nothing. And then we long haul trucked him to like South Carolina. And so all that's to say is lots of people choose, maybe it's the cheapest option or somebody who's not us, their first move, but it seems like by their second move, everybody wants to choose us. I don't know if you could probably touch on that with your experience.
Yeah, so when I first came into this industry, I've never done in the moving industry before. I've done retail management, I've done mental health management. So coming in here, I've heard a lot of those stories where people's items were ransomed, basically saying, "Hey, look, it's here, but we need an extra $5,000 to unlock it." And it's like, whoa, why would somebody do that? And so I think they like us, if I just focus on us, when we say we're going to do something, we move heaven and earth to do it. If we're taking you across the country, when we say the unload date is May 29th, we're going to make sure that our guys are there by May 29th, pending drastic circumstances like extreme weather, the truck broke down. We've had trucks break down before, but we still make our time because we are logistically savvy enough to make sure that if we need to rent a Penske truck or two to fill it up and keep going, we're going to leave our truck there to get it fixed, and we're going to keep going and make it happen. But the customer is always going to have communication. They're going to know what's going on. We're going to be very, very realistic, saying, "Hey, look, we can still make our date because we left early enough in advance. You don't have to pay for us moving it into a new truck or the rental. We're going to cover that. We're going to eat that cost because we're committed to keeping our word."
Of course. Yeah, obviously that's very important. And from a logistics perspective, that really helps because we're all in one service. We pack you, we move you, we are the ones on the phone call, we are the ones that sold you, we are the ones that, do our own finances.
Correct.
We are the ones who drive and unpack you. And so I think obviously logistically that makes things really, really smooth for the customer, would you say?
Very smooth because they know who they're talking to day one. They're still in the company, even if they talk to Eli in sales, but he's off the next day. But when they talk to Scott, it's the same company. Scott's going to text Eli or call him real quick, even on his day off. And if he can reach him, they reach each other. They want to make sure that everybody has enough information as possible.
Right, of course. Okay, last question. You've worked for Big Ben's for 5 years?
A little less than 5.
A little less than 5 years. Why do you still work for Big Ben's today?
Ooh, it's a great opportunity. So a little bit about my story. So I came in with the understanding that I could help run some of his teams, help the business grow. So I came in as a mover, got my hands dirty, was there for almost 2 years doing moving as a team member, then as a team lead, county field general, and then went into more operations in the office. And then Ben was like, "Hey, why don't you just run the moving company, all of the moving company?" So I took on that responsibility, and it's been great. So still here because it's fun. I love growth. I love building out systems. I love improving. We went from when I first came in, Ben still called it his bootstrap business. And now we're moving into a more systematized, can function even if I'm sick or our operations in sick. We have redundancies so that we can keep the business moving, which helps our team members, but it also helps our customers. If somebody's out sick years ago, that might have been a little bit more stressful than it is today. So just systems being created can alleviate stress on our end, which is also passed off to our customers, because moving is stressful for anybody who doesn't move, whether it's by themselves or they hire somebody. Moving's stressful. If we alleviate stress on our end, we also are alleviating stress on their end.
Of course. Sweet. Well, thank you.
Thank you.